This is another quick rundown by Linny Christina Randall about some of these shills. She says, Mark Sargent, the moon is a holographic projection, gravity is just molecular magnetism, from a video game design standpoint, but, whatever. Patricia Steer is great, and so is Orphan Red. We made a private video, but you can't see it. Darren Nesbitt, the Earth is a square with four corners, and the sun and moon warp into portals. Try to debate me, and I will block you. Infinite Plane Society, I'm an ex-Freemason of the 32nd degree. Help me promote FE by spamming people's YouTube chats with super chat donation of $6.66. If that doesn't work, we can always use a penguin meme and make Flat Earth appear to be even more like a joke. Jeranism, I went to an all-boys Jesuit-run school. I don't encourage activism, as it isn't my job, but please find the PayPal link in my channel and go fund me. Math Powerland, oh my god, the chemtrails in my air vents are telling me that people are triangulating against me. The Zionists should run the FE movement and buy my t-shirt after you watch me attempt to sing about nothing on my channel. If that fails, you can always check out my gay pornos on YouTube. Just search Hostile Hookup Matthew Boylan. Patricia Steer, welcome to Flat Earth and Other Hot Potatoes, where we sit here for 2.5 hours and promote what wine I'm drinking and what designer shirt I'm wearing. Find me on Instagram, where I post nothing Flat Earth related at all. My mother is a Jew, but I'm not. Carly Sunshine, I don't know why people are being so mean about FTFE, and if you ask me if I support Freemasons, I will tell you to tread lightly, and you'll be sorry, because I like to threaten people with violence, so full of sunshine. Jake Gibson, Flat Earth Asshole. Please donate to me so I can travel around and interview people wearing Illuminati t-shirts, call you my fan, and if you talk about Zionism, you're a Nazi. ODD TV. I'm a sex offender. I used to call Shills out with Eric Dubay, but after being invited to the Flat Earth International Conference, I've decided they are all great, and I swear I'm not getting paid a dime. ODD hypocrisy. Quasi-luminous. Just cut yourself and put your blood on this paper, and we can all cross the Frost Bridge and magically travel to North Pole Shambhala in 2019. Cami. The Earth is a diamond shape because I said so. There are 3 poles, my pole, Bob's pole, and the North Pole. I even made my new map rainbow-colored for you. Daryl Marble. I mysteriously made the Israeli news, accidentally ran over and killed my ex-girlfriend, and don't you just love the blue marble reference in my name? I also go on Pat Steer's show, because shills of a feather flock together. Speakers at the Flat Earth International Conference 2017, Robbie Davidson, Morgile, Globebusters, plus the above-mentioned, all charging you $249 for a VIP pass to go behind the scenes of this convention to be told the Earth is flat. Oh, and our conference is being held at a hotel in a room that features a shrine of globes sitting upon pillars. And you can view it online too, but not for free. And just to clarify my stance on some of those, ODD TV is someone who, at one point, I really liked, then at one point did a complete 180-degree turn on me, and then at another point came 360 degrees back around, or at least tried to. When he first came on the scene, he put out great material and called out shills like Mark and Patricia, and even made a song called Shilling for the Flat Earth with Payday Monsanto, calling them out. After he was invited to the conference, however, and got put on television and was going mainstream, suddenly ODD was buddy-buddy with the shills, no longer considered Mark and Patricia shills, and instead insinuated that I was, saying things like, Mark and Patricia do much more for the flat earth than the people who call everyone shills, like you. He proceeded to call anyone who agreed with me Dubay dick riders, a term I'll never forget, seeing him reference anybody who followed my work, which he himself had always praised, and now, once again, to this day, continues to praise. But in this strange period of time, when he was invited to the conference, he became what we call ODD hypocrisy. And ever since then, myself and many others have had a hard time trusting him completely, though he does put out a lot of good material, and has now doubled back again, and seems to think that Mark and Patricia and other people, and there are shills in the movement.
Well, hi everyone, and greetings from Northern Michigan. This is Bob the Science Guy. I think that we're kind of getting close to the end of our little mini-series on Buffalo Eric here. Now, I started this off as a series called Eric Dubay, Zealot or Con Man, with an interview that he held with a radio station. But to be honest with you, all he did was basically repeat the flat Earth nonsense from the mid-18th century, or excuse me, the 1800s. Typos and all. And these things have been debunked so many times it wasn't funny. And I was looking for a way to kind of finish up the series. And then he released this video. In this video, he basically attacks everything flat Earth that is not Eric Dubay. And we just saw kind of a rundown of that. He seems to be reaching a crescendo in this. He's been dressing up as Orphan Red and Patricia Steere and imitating other flat earthers in some sort of street theater that he's doing. And quite frankly, it's amusing in some ways, it's disturbing in others, and the overall impression that I'm getting from Mr. Eric Dubay is sadness. You know, how did we fail this man? So let's go ahead and cue up the music and see if we can finish this bad boy out.
Patricia and other people, and there are shills in the movement.
You know, I don't normally edit the videos after they're uploaded to YouTube, but I got a copyright claim on a rap tune that was in this video, where the rapper basically dissed everybody in the flat earth except for Eric Dubay and started talking about Jews and Masons. I thought about maybe appealing it, but then again, this is not something that I really want in one of my videos, so basically I decided to just go ahead and take it out. But if you really want to listen to it, I suggest you go over to Eric Dubay's channel. There's plenty of that sort of nonsense over there. It's just not going to be on this one. I do make some comments in the next segment about it. You know, so if you are curious, I mean, well, I don't know which was, shall we say, more interesting, the lyrics to that little tune or the images that Eric put up. Obviously, the man has a significant problem with certain religious groups and social organizations. Very, very strange. You know, if you're going to be behind this man, you have to own him. It's just as simple as that. If you think that he is a person to be looked up to, you're going to have to own his anti-Semitism. You're going to have to own his opinions on Freemasonry and Hitler. You're going to have to own his opinions on other people in your movement. Now, why is he trying to divide the movement to set him as one leader and then minimize the effects of other quote-unquote leaders of this flat earth movement, for lack of a better word? He's basically trying to consolidate power here, and he's manipulating people. He's just not somebody that I would look up to, and I have a lot of trouble, shall we say, admiring those that do. So let's go ahead and continue his little diatribe here.
I also want to mention the shenanigans at the first International Flat Earth Conference in 2017. People continually asking me if I was invited. I was not. When I
Does anybody kind of get the impression that maybe that might have something to do with this massive amount of butthurt that Eric has against these other Flat Earth leaders? He wasn't invited to their little party. Like he couldn't sit at the cool kids table? Come on.
Approached Robbie Davidson, the organizer, asking why. He claimed that he had already invited me, and I never responded. I went back in my old messages and found that Robbie had Facebook messaged me that he had something he wanted to talk with me about. That was all.
Maybe you better
He never
answer him.
mentioned the event in his invitation message, but claimed that I was invited. I told him if he was serious about inviting me to the event, then he should have at least mentioned the event and invited me to it in his message. Anyway, it's clear that nearly every speaker at Shillfest 2017 was a controlled opposition disinformation agent, and this event is their way of trying to bring legitimacy to their pseudo-movement.
Now, would anybody like to make a bet that had Eric, the dear leader of the Flat Earth, been invited, it wouldn't have been a pseudo-movement and it would have been a legitimate conference? Or is he just got such a massive amount of butthurt right now that he can't say anything nice about them because he wasn't there, so therefore they are false prophets? So that's just the impression that I'm getting. How about you? Put a note in the comments for me.
They leave out the Jews and claim that Eric is dividing us. There wouldn't be enough interest in the Flat Earth in 2017 to even have a conference if I didn't bring this topic back to the world's attention. But these shills have the gall to claim that I'm dividing the movement when there was no movement before I started it in November 2014.
Okay, so basically what he's saying is he created the movement so he can do with it as he wishes. And anything that he does, by definition, is not dividing the movement because he started it and it wouldn't be there without him in the first place. Yet, this has been a pretty divisive video that he put out. I mean, I had to go through a number of different videos here just to kind of cover all of the massive amount of divisiveness that he is just spewing with every frame. So this is pot, meat, kettle.
There wouldn't be enough interest in the Flat Earth in 2017 to even have a conference if I didn't bring this topic back to the world's attention. But these shills have the gall to claim that I'm dividing the movement when there was no movement before I started it in November 2014. Anyone that doubts that, please watch the video, Who Brought Back the Flat Earth? And then recently, as I said, there was the UK conference where you got Darren Nesbitt saying Earth's a square on 4 pillars with 4 corners and Pac-Man portals warping the sun and moon back, and Martin Kinney saying there's 3 suns, 3 moons, 3 ice walls, and 33 extra continents no one's ever seen beyond Antarctica. So obviously, we can see what these conferences are all about.
I think that you can really see what these conferences are all about just in the look in the interviewer's face there. I saw this interview. You know, they denied gravity, and the first thing he did was drop a pen. And yeah, I'm sorry they're not your brand of crazy, Eric, but it doesn't make them right. It doesn't make you right. You're all nuts.
Making Flat Earth look stupid. And what happened right after the conference? Martin Kinney and Darren Nesbitt get on the most popular morning show in the UK. And while they're on there, Darren Nesbitt says gravity exists.
It does.
Sounds just like Mark Sargent and the Flat Earth Society saying gravity exists. No Flat Earther thinks gravity exists. But somehow these guys get on television and then they go on and say things that no Flat Earther agrees with. While they were on that television interview, they also mentioned something which I find suspicious and wonder about. I've been trying to get a debate with Neil deGrasse Tyson for years. He even finally allegedly agreed to it, but then backed out. And then on this Good Morning UK interview with Nesbitt, Martin Kinney, and Gary John, the 3 of them, asked Bill Nye, Brian Cox, and Neil deGrasse Tyson to a 3 versus 3 debate on television. Now, this was interesting to me. I've been trying to get this debate forever. These guys come out of nowhere, they get on television, and now they're calling out Neil deGrasse Tyson, Bill Nye, and Brian Cox for a debate. Call me Nostradamus, but I wouldn't be surprised in the least if in the near future, instead of debating me, like he allegedly agreed to, and how the internet has been calling for the past 3 years, instead of engaging with me, what do you bet? Neil Tyson is going to debate with Darren Nesbitt or something similar on television. Because this is how the controlled opposition works. They set up their own people, they set up their own straw men to knock them down. They can't allow genuine, legitimate people on television or in the public eye. They have to set up their own people there. And their own people have to pretend to be like genuine flat earthers.
Okay. Eric, why don't you look up the definition of paranoid and see if your picture's next to it in the dictionary, okay? First, I don't think that Cox, Tyson, or Bill Nye are going to really have anything to do with a bunch of fringe element zealots that don't understand things well enough to even have a discussion about them. You know, every single flat earth debate I've ever seen, I have to sit down and explain basic motion and other things to the person on the other side so that they can at least talk about something in the same frame of mind as somebody that actually does understand motion and gravity and earth science and things like that. Quite frankly, I don't really see what Nye, Cox, or Tyson have to gain by using up time that they will never get back in their lives to come talk to a bunch of flat earthers. I truly don't see the upside to that for any of them. So let's go ahead and continue here.
That's why there can never be, never should be, and never will be unity in the flat earth community.
Because you're all prima donnas.
The enemy's main tactic is putting on a mask and pretending to be one of us, and pretending to be your best friend. They're everywhere. The flat earth community is rife with frenemies. Okay, lastly, I want to talk about claims that I'm controlled opposition, because once I start claiming people are shills, like typical schoolyard bully reverse psychology, they just point the finger back at me and say, I know you are, but what am I? And so now suddenly I'm the shill. Oh, Eric Dubay's the shill. Eric Dubay's controlled opposition. And they come up with a litany of reasons why I am so. And then I have to waste my time defending myself against ridiculous allegations that have no evidence whatsoever. And I'm going to do again right here, because people are constantly asking me to account for these things. So I need to have a link like this to send people to with answers to the dumb questions that have been programmed into them about how I'm a shill.
Okay, well, on that happy note, I think that that's probably going to be the last episode, and that is that Eric Dubay is going to try desperately to justify what he has just done to the flat earth community, calling everybody that is anybody in the flat earth community a shill, and the only requirement for being a shill is not being Eric Dubay. Now I'm going to go see whether or not he can try and justify this somehow. And I think that we're going to make that the last episode on Mr. Eric Dubay. I don't think that there's much more that needs to be done with Mr. Dubay. Basically, I just let him talk, and that's always a mistake. You know, the first thing that my lawyer taught me on testifying in court is if they ask you a question, answer the question in as few words as possible and then shut up. Don't volunteer stuff. Mr. Dubay probably should have had a lawyer like mine to tell him that someday. You know, he should have been told that you don't volunteer information that people will end up using against you. And I think he's about ready to do that. So, this is Bob the Science Guy. I'm going to sign out from Northern Michigan. I'm really looking forward to this next episode, and I hope that you have enjoyed this one. Hey, do me a favor, guys. Have a look at that little logo in the lower right corner of this video. Hit that and subscribe to my channel. Hit a like on the video. Share it around a little bit. Tell your friends about it. Send them on over here and let them have a look at some of these videos, because this is a classic self-destruct cycle in the flat Earth. This is more than likely going to be the end of any cohesion in the flat Earth, because they're eating themselves now. And quite frankly, it's about time. So I'm going to go ahead and sign out now. Take care, guys. We'll see you for the next video.
This rabbit hole's too deep for me. Feel my brain getting real sore.